All right, this is for once you have the red, yellow, and blue pie piece done. Then you're ready to move on to where you have to mix the colors first. So the most important thing to remember when you're mixing colors is that in paint, there is the color that acts like red, and then there's the color that is red. So we have red and magenta in our class, and they look very similar from the container. The only way to tell them apart is the magenta has magenta written on it. If you are using red paint or trying to make any product of red, you can use the red one. But if you're trying to make a different color, like purple or red orange or anything like that, you always want to use magenta as your mixer. The same is true for blue. We have a blue paint. You can make light blue with this, but if you're trying to make green, you want to use our turquoise. These ones you can see the difference of, so they're a little bit easier. For yellow, for our particular brand of paint, we just have yellow. It acts like yellow, it looks like yellow, so you don't need to look for a secondary mixer on this one. Then when you're ready to mix, what happens is you know what two paints you need to mix together, because the red and the yellow, anything inside that section is mixed with red and yellow in differing amounts. The closer you get to yellow, the more yellow that's in the paint. The closer you get to red, the more red that's in the paint. Same is true as you flip it. So in between the blue and the red, you're going to use magenta and turquoise to mix these. The closer you are to red, you use magenta. The closer you are to blue, turquoise. Same is true here. These would be all your greens. So again, yellow can be the pure color, but blue you need to use the turquoise. And I'm going to show you how to do the mixing for the oranges. So you always start with a quarter size amount of the less intense color. So for us, ooh, way too much, it was clogged. For us, that is the yellow. Once you take the yellow, you're going to take small quantities of magenta in comparison. Then you are going to mix these two together. Okay, so once you mix it up, you're going to look at it. And so as I look at mine and compare it, it's hard for you to tell because it's looking extremely red on my camera, but that actually looks like orange. So I can go ahead and paint in and do the orange pie piece since I happen to have it, right? But when I work with this amount of paint, the nice thing is I want to keep this pure. So I would take a swatch of this and put this over here, and then doing just like I did before, to fill in the rest of the orange pie piece, I would do my squirt of white, my squirt of black, and then I would messy this area so that this was kept totally clean. Okay, keeping the area clean, then just like before, I would mix this to get my tone, my tint. Once that was all painted and done, then I could add a small amount of black and get my tone. Then I would wash my brush, then I could mix my shade. Once that pie piece was all done, and I wanted to move on to the next pie piece, you can never make things less intense. So this orange is not going to just magically turn into this yellow orange without an exorbitant amount of paint. So instead, what I want to do is I want to take a little chunk of this paint and move it over to the side, and then with that little chunk of paint, then I could squirt in some more yellow. And from there, now I do have, if I compare it, now I have my yellow orange. So I could paint in my yellow orange swatch now. And then to get my red orange, I would go back to my big section of paint, and this time again, I would grab more magenta. And this time it's easier to change because the magenta is more intense than the yellow. So that small amount of magenta could get mixed up. And then that gets me my red orange. And again, each time I'm mixing this main color, I'm pulling it over to a separate area on my pie plate, and I'm mixing it with the white and the black to make the tint, tone, and shade. When cleanup